sports. It's in the game.
I'm not sure why I keep doing this. I reached the point of a permanent depression about 5 years ago with Madden, kind of realizing that probably nothing was ever going to change. But here I am, again, with another year, thinking that something might change. I've actually reached the point of being completely convinced that Madden will always be in the disappointment tier. It's a common mantra within the sports communities that if you just don't buy the game, things will absolutely get better. Just don't buy it. But I am convinced that even if nobody bought it, I don't think Madden would get any better. Madden, like a lot of sports games, is plagued by the yearly cycle. And the game has so many rooted core deficiencies that I think that if just nobody bought the game, EA would just stop making the game. Which, I guess, in a way, would probably make the product that we get for football more than likely better. But when you take those core deficiencies and you pair it with a bunch of half-baked ideas, what you get in return is a half-baked game. Now, I want to start you all out with the mode that I play the most, the mode that I've always played the most within Madden, and that is the franchise mode. I won't be covering MUT, because MUT's just a card collecting game where you just collect the same exact cards with different pictures over and over and over and over and over again. Also, I just don't think the game is really that good, so why would I put additional time or potentially more money into a game that I just think is pretty bad? So if you're looking for me to talk about MUT in this video, get fucked. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it because it sucks. To start with the franchise, though, I do want to give some positives because there are actually some positives with Madden franchise this year. Like training camp is in the game, and it also gives you a good route to make your players better outside of just like the in-season progression loop, which gives you more to do in the off-season. Unfortunately, that's where the good stops. The training camp and the mini-games are actually kind of bad, and we'll get to that later. Offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators also have like specialties that they have within their skill trees now, which make it so that you can actually hire around what you want your strengths to be on your team, which is, a nice touch. Credit where credit's due. The added slots for trades is also a nice addition, and it's something that I used immediately in my first draft. Some would argue that that probably should have been put into the game 5 years ago, but still a nice addition to have now. There is also more settings and more customization for the league settings for your franchise or connected franchise. That allows you the freedom to kind of make the league however you seem fit, which is nice to have. The additional customization just opens up what you can do within your league, especially for something like a connected franchise. So, good job. And, I mean, yeah, that's it for the positives. So, let's get into the negatives. And first, I'm going to start with a little bit of a rant. And I want to start this rant with a question. And the question is very simple. How? How does a game launch with a UI that takes more time to navigate the UI than actually doing anything within the game? How is this not the first thing that gets squashed before the game is released? The UI is horrid. It's so slow and clunky that I actually found myself in franchise not doing certain tasks because it takes too long to actually do the task that should take 3 seconds to do. Sometimes it took 2 or 3 or 4 clicks of a button to actually get to where I want to go before the game actually recognized what was happening. And sometimes I wouldn't think that the game is recognizing what I'm inputting, and I would hit it and it would like keep everything preloaded. So I just like went like 2 or 3 levels deeper than I wanted to go within the UI, within the menus. So I'd have to then back out of the menus to get to where I want to go, just creating more time wasted. I would rather load up Out of the Park Baseball for the first time and figure out what the fuck is going on here than actually go through Madden's UI. Okay, now that's off my chest, and that's not just in franchise, that's across the entire game. The UI is god-awful across the entire game. Dog shit. But now that's off my chest, let's go into some half-baked ideas that franchise has. Remember when the new scouting system was introduced? Well, yeah, that's gone, pretty much completely unchanged since its introduction. At the time that it was introduced, it felt half-baked, and it still sits half-baked 2 years later. And I'm not even saying that the last system was any better, but at least the last system kind of kept you engaged with players, kept you engaged in actually doing the task of scouting players. This system, you pick some scouts, you assign the scouts, and then you interact with the scouting system like 4 times for the rest of the year. And the 4 times that you interact with the system is just you going in, clicking X, and then leaving. But that is something old. Let's talk about something new. How about that training camp? How about all those mini games? How do those stack up as a new feature in the game? And I use the term new extremely loose here because it is just an old thing that is brought back. And guess what? I bet you're not going to guess what I'm going to say. Maybe you did, especially if you're at home drinking right now. This is another half-baked idea brought back into Madden. All these choices of minigames. So many choices that you have for minigames. It's just too bad that like 4 or 5 of them are the only ones that are actually balanced and fun, and the rest are unbalanced, too difficult, don't get enough points, just overall bad, that you just find yourself doing the same ones over and over and over again. And like I said, some are straightforward, some are good, some have good balance. The task that you have to do is balanced very well with the rewards that you get. While others are just so difficult and rely on just chance, rely on luck, rely on you getting like specific targets where you need them in order to score the most points, they're worthless. So all of these minigames, like 5% of them are actually good. And then there is Trench Battle, which sucks donkey balls. Blockers will follow you after you've beaten them, so that it like blocks your progress. You can't get through, or they're pushing you into these things that are lying on the ground that you just get stuck in. It's just Trench Battle. It's bad. Trench Battle is fucking bad. Really bad. This minigame is terrible. Sometimes too, when you get to the end, you tackle the quarterback through this little target that's behind him. And sometimes the animation that you get doesn't actually tackle the quarterback through the target behind them. So you just lose out on points because you got fucked over by an animation. What the fuck? And the great thing about this entire system is you get to do these mini games every single week for the characters that you're trying to boost for XP. So you're just going to do the same exact mini games that are the easiest or most rewarding over and over and over and over and over again. So you're just doing the same like 4 every week for eternity. Now you can do that, or you can do what I do and just simulate it, because who the fuck's gonna do that? Also, another small gripe, but the Lions have exactly 10 players on their entire roster that actually have their face scanned. And some of the players even have the same exact face, same exact build as each other. This is Malcolm Rodriguez, and this is Riley Patterson. Yeah, they look the same in real life, too. Like, it must be really difficult, but I feel like it isn't, just to have one person, maybe 2, just sit down for 4 weeks and just put in a college effort. Just an effort. It doesn't even have to be a good effort. Just something to try and make these at least close-ish to what their actual counterparts look like. But instead, it's like they took an AI-generated, here's a face, and then just Control-C, Control-V, Control-C, Control-V on like 30 different people. It's just... it's a lack of detail. It's half-baked. And when it comes to franchise, I mean, that's it. Everything else is completely the same. The draft is the same. The entire UI is the same for the 65th year running. Goals are silly and uninventive. And breakout goals, in particular, are sometimes just absolutely bonkers. Like, oh, you want Amon-Ra to go up a level to Superstar X Factor? Guess what? You better score 4 touchdowns in one game with him. What the fuck is that? The entire mode is unimaginative, lifeless, and is just filled with a bunch of half-baked ideas that have just been stacked on top of each other for the last 5 years. The other mode I gave a try was Superstar mode. And, I mean, yeah. You start with Create a Player, and it has extremely limited customization within the suite. Maybe EA needs to actually like pay the NFL a little bit more so that you can get a beard that's longer than stubble. After this, you watch some pretty mediocre cutscenes, and then it's off to the scouting combine. You go to the combine and you do 5 drills. The bench, the 40, the broad jump, the 20-yard shuttle, and then a position-specific drill. They put your grades up against actual rookies that were in this last class and all of their grades that they got, which is actually kind of a nice touch, and I appreciate that. That's good. The only problem I really ran into within like the combine portion was that sometimes your actual button presses didn't mean anything. So you'd be tapping left and right trigger, but the game wouldn't even recognize that you're tapping left and right trigger, so it would like stutter and be bad. Usually happened in the 40-yard dash. Sometimes it registered, sometimes it didn't. And overall, it was just like flip a coin on what you were going to get. Once I got an A, I usually just moved on. And sometimes the cutscenes are unskippable. Why? Stop. After you're done with the combine, you have the combine interview section where you go through and you answer 10 questions, and this would potentially boost you on people's draft boards. And okay, this has absolutely nothing to fucking do with the combine. Jack Campbell probably didn't walk into his interviews with the Detroit Lions or with the media for that fact, and I'm sure people didn't ask him like, how many teams did Peyton Manning play for? Why the fuck is this here? Like, if it's going to ask me, like, specific questions about the game of football or the position, okay. But to make me do math, I'm like, how many Super Bowls Tom Brady has won and how many times the Bengals have won a Super Bowl? It's like, why? And after that, you've leveled up. Now you get to see the progression within Superstar mode. And overall, it's actually not bad. Upgrading skills gets you badges, and the more that you level up, the more badges that you can then apply to then make your player better, and I actually kind of like this system. The only downside, and this is a very small gripe, but the first thing that unlocks is the X Factor, but you don't have an X Factor to actually equip, so you're just staring at this open slot. Why? Just make it so that when I unlock my first X Factor, I also unlock the X Factor ability. But now it's time to see where you go in the draft and start your journey. You get drafted and you sign your contract, and now it's time for the Superstar mode to actually start to falter. Every week you have things to do for the days of the week. Only problem is sometimes the rewards that you get are exactly the same. So you could dance and get 100 credits, or you could shoot an ad and get 100 credits. It's just you're picking one that has no bearing on what is actually happening within the mode. And remember those mini games from franchise that you're only doing like 2 of them? Same thing happens here in Superstar mode. So you're just going to be doing the same drill over and over and over and over again every single week. This entire screen essentially becomes like a hitting X simulator. I don't know what else they could have done. Maybe do a drill, like maybe me like actually go and bench press to increase my strength, or make me do some squats to increase my speed every week. I don't know. They could have done something except for just like hit X all the time, because it just gets boring. Again, it's a half-baked. Also, after you select one of the rewards, it pops up and shows you like, hey, you unlocked these rewards, and it makes you hit X again. And because the UI is so slow, this whole thing just takes time. And also, I don't know why you're making me... I chose the thing. I know I'm getting 100 credits. Why does it have to pop up saying you're getting 100 credits that I have to then hit X again to dismiss it before I can go on to the next thing that I have to do? It could have been a simple like slide out, like you got 100 credits. Literally anything but this, because it's already a very atrocious UI that is then stacked on top of each other because it's making you go through all of these just hitting X button. I don't know. It's just bad. The UI is just bad. I can't get over how bad the UI is. Finally, you go out and play the game for the week, and then rinse and repeat. In between, there are some scenes that you get, like with sponsors, where you're just like selecting a sponsor that you want to play for, and it just unlocks like some cosmetic things. There's also there was a scene where it's like, hey, what do you want to work on? And you're like, oh, I want to work on this. And then you go and do the drill, and it's like, hey, you got a gold. That's a great color. And then I have no idea what that actually did. I actually don't think it did anything. There was no rewards for it. I just had a cutscene and a drill that I did for literally no reason. I was also told 3 times within the 5 hours that I played this mode that I was getting a house, and I never got a house. I'm still sitting in the same hotel that I had at the scouting combine. So, I mean, maybe the house does something, but I don't know. I still haven't found out. Also, how come when I play as a quarterback, I actually can't put people in motion? I hit the button and nothing happens. As a quarterback, putting people in motion is pretty important. Don't know why I can't do that. I'm so confused. I mean, overall, Superstar mode was fun enough. I mean, it's not a reason to actually go out and buy the game, like maybe something like NBA 2K is. But, I mean, it's a fun enough addition to play for a little bit. But the mode, unless you're, like, creating content for it, I feel like it just gets super boring extremely quickly. And so, those are the modes that you get, along with Ultimate Team, but fuck Ultimate Team. And for those who have made it this far and are still watching, you're probably recognizing that my like body language and face is just getting more depressed the more that this video goes. And I think that that's because I spent like 20 plus hours playing this game, and God, I haven't even gotten to the gameplay yet, and it's just, this game's so bad. But, alright, how does the game actually play? How's the gameplay? And, I don't know, man. It's Madden. They said that they improved the blocking, and in some cases I would say that they have, but for the most part, I mean, offensive lines still can't pull properly. None of the players can get correctly out on toss plays. They just like run past people that they're blocking, or they suck into the line instead of going up to the second level to maybe take out like a safety dropping down or a corner. Or it's just they don't know what to do. One of my favorite things is tackles will just like drop back into pass coverage, and if there's nobody actually rushing, instead of like going back up to the line to maybe help with a double team or move over to help with somebody blitzing up the middle, they just continue to trot backwards, just keep going back and back and back. They never do anything. They just keep dropping back until, you know, you're trying to roll out to make a pass play and you're running into them because they're not doing anything. I will say, though, where they definitely did improve was like up the middle, even outside zone sometimes. Blockers do take double teams, and do break off of that double team to move up to the second level very well, which leads to like simple handoff plays, dives, stretches, outside zone, inside zone. Those plays, very simple, actually does a pretty good job on linemen passing off and getting up to the second level. So for that, hey, yeah, good job. Everything else, dog shit. Like, here are 3 clips from 2 drives in 1 quarter. Like, what's this? What's this? And what the actual fuck is this? 3 plays. 2 drives. All from 1 quarter. And devs have actually gone on to videos saying like how much better they've made defensive coverage. But at the same time, you have safeties that as soon as the ball is snapped, they're just turning and sprinting to their deep zone. They're not like backpedaling it and reading what's going on or reading the quarterback. They're just turning around and just sprinting back to a deep zone. And for the love of anything that is holy in this world, EA, can you please just fucking balance the difficulties in this game? All Pro, 2,000 yards per game, 750 points per game. All Madden, 37 picks. The defense knows my play before I do, and I'm the one who picked it. And the CPU quarterback absolutely just fucking dices up my defense, no matter who I'm playing against. But Zane, just wait for the sliders to come from Operation Sports. Hey, fucko. How about EA just balances the game since, they make the fucking thing? How hard is it to just take the slider sets that Operation Sports does every fucking year and just put it into the game? Here's a slider set for you. Already in there. We've done the work for you since we made the game. Instead, they make me wait for some poor soul every year to simulate 65 trillion games in order to get a proper slider set that I can do to make the game actually fun. Another thing with the gameplay, just specific to like Superstar mode, if you're not playing the quarterback in Superstar mode, the quarterback AI is dog shit. It's bad. It's just really bad. Like if you're playing as a running back and let's say you have a wheel route, maybe, a quarterback would wait for you to do the wheel route. Nope. Quarterback's going to you. You're going to get hit in the flat. They don't even hold on to the ball, even if there's no pressure. They're just... Or like with my running back, I got drafted by the Bears and I had Justin Fields as a quarterback. And he's under a little bit of pressure, so he's rolling out. Open field. Nobody even, because everybody's playing man. Open field, easiest 15-yard gain that he's ever had in his life. He gets up to the line. Is he going to run it? Nope. Toss it out of bounds. Just throw it away. Nobody's open. Nobody's open. Don't know what to do. So I'm just going to throw it out of bounds. I'm losing my mind. I have a challenge. Go play Madden from 4 years ago. And then play the Madden this year. Tell me how much the game actually has changed. Spoiler alert, it fucking hasn't at all. In some areas, I would say it's probably worse. Now, in some areas, it is better. But overall, it's a wash. I stand by that if on launch, nobody bought the game. It had 0 sales. And people sit and think like, oh, it's going to get better. I don't think it would. I think it would just be the same game the following year that they would hope would sell. And if it didn't, they would just quit making the game. The spaghetti code has gotten too spaghetti. It's overcooked, melted into mush. And then they took some like half-baked raw-ish chicken and just like threw it on top of the spaghetti to just say like, hey, we had some chicken laying around, so we just kind of cooked it and threw it on to make it maybe taste a little bit better. They're just taking all these things and just throwing it into the game for the sake of saying like, hey, we have something new this year, so they could use it in marketing. When that new thing is just so bad or half-baked or just, why is this here? That it just adds nothing to the game. I really hope that one day I can walk out into the sun and just think like, oh, finally, EA has put out a Madden that rivals something like NFL 2K5 or Madden 06. Honestly, just anything except broken promises, broken dreams, or a dev team that sees that they have to release another Madden next year. They have this yearly cycle. They have to do it. And so they just check out of anything that actually leads to innovation. I don't blame them. Until that day in the sun, though, I guess I'll just wait to see if Maximum Football isn't terrible. Or I'll just continue playing Legend Bowl since that game's actually fun. And I'll sit here and get ready to buy NCAA Football because I'm a fucking idiot.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in